Hi, my name is Muhammad Fadlillah Ashari, and I'm here today to analyze the movie Blade Runner 1982. Now, before I begin of the analysis, I would like to inform you that there are multiple versions of this movie due to studio restrictions and edits. While there are only three versions of this movie that was considered the best. The first one is the original theatrical version that was released in 1992, and then there was the director's cut, which was released in 1997, and the last one is the final cut. This one is released in 2007, and according to the director himself, Ridley Scott, this is the definitive version of the movie, as stated by its creator, because in this version he has full creative control over this movie. So he got the chance to put every single artistic ideas pour into the final cut. So I will analyze this version now, so that it will be better to review the movie in its full state. Right. Let's moving on to the summary. Blade Runner is a neo-noir movie set in a dystopian future of Los Angeles, where human technology has advanced to the level where they are able to settle on other planets and also make artificial human-like androids known as replicants to help the colonies inside planets. Blade Runner is directed by Ridley Scott, as I mentioned before. Uh, Here is the replicant, and the movie tells the story of a retired Blade Runner, Rick Deckard, who is forced to hunt down four rogue replicants who just arrived on Earth with one goal: to meet their maker, Dr. Eldon Tyrell. Over the course of the story, the Blade Runner uncovered the truth about replicants and fallen in love with one of them, making him question himself in the process. Next, um, in this analysis, I will be using Zatan Todorov's theory in narratology, which consists of five stages, and they are equilibrium, disruption, recognition, repair the damage, and new equilibrium. As you can see, this is Zatan Todorov. In Blade Runner, it is rather hard to identify the definitive structure because it is a movie full of twists, and it requires deeper focus to understand uh, certain parts of or context given, especially towards the end of the movie. Now I will explain how Todorov's theory is in line with the movie, and I will also explain why I think some stages are not present in this movie. Equilibrium is the state of balance in a story that is normally presented at the beginning of part of the story. Everything was peaceful, everything was balanced, and the main hero, the main character, lives his life in peace. In this movie, in the early part of the movie, we can see Rick Deckard in his everyday life as a burnout Blade Runner. So we see him as a retired officer. He's been working for a long time, and now he seeks to he quits his job as a Blade Runner already. We can see him sitting on the side of the street reading newspaper under the rain while people passing by in coats and neon umbrellas. The next scene, he ran into a nearby food bar where he ordered a noodle to eat before a fellow officer named Gaff forced him to meet his former boss, Bryant. From this scene, we are being introduced in the setting or the world of the movie. We can see how Deckard lived his normal life after retiring from being a Blade Runner by roaming the streets and eating like any normal people. He is not presented to a threat or any conflicts, at least not yet. Uh, and throughout the scene, we can hear people speaking multiple languages, such as Korean, Hungarian, Japanese, Swedish, etc. It shows how globalized the world has become in this world to live with so many cultural differences. Everything is balanced with no conflict present at all until Gaff came. Now, the next stage is disruptions. As the name suggests, disruption disrupts the balance that was already established at the beginning of the movie. We see Deckard is forced to meet his former boss, Bryant, and he was told to listen to the latest case of rogue replicants who arrived on Earth 2 weeks earlier. At first, Deckard refused the job, insisting that he had done his service and seeks to retire. However, Bryant softly threatened him and made Deckard unable to reject the assignment. We then moved to the scene where Bryant introduced the 4 Nexus-type replicants. These replicants, should I remind you, are human-like androids that was made to serve people, humans on different planets. The fugitive, the rogue android that Deckard needs to hunt, need to kill or retire in this universe, as it was said. They are Leon, and then there's Zora, and then there's Pris, and the last one is possibly and the leader of the bunch is Roy Betty. In this moment, Brian also shows a recorded video. Brian also shows a recorded video of how Leon, one of the replicant, this guy over here, shot another Blade Runner previously shown very early at the start of the movie. After he showed Deckard this, he tasked him to begin investigation from his place where Leon had lived. I think the transition between equilibrium and disruption in Blade Runner's narrative is perfectly done. It's not rushed, and the scene where Deckard eating his noodle on their way to the police station signifies the change of structure. I'm sorry. As I said, it's not rushed, and the scene where Deckard is eating his noodle on their way to the police station signifies the change of structure without wasting too much time in exposition, so we can get straight to understand what is happening and who is who. Now, move on to the next stage. The next stage is recognition. Before Deckard sets off for his mission to hunt the 4 replicants, he went to Tyrell Corporation, a company who designed and made these replicants. He met Dr. Eldon Tyrell and Rachel, his assistant. These are on the right we can see Dr. Eldon Tyrell, and on the left we can see Rachel. Tyrell insisted Deckard to demonstrate the void cam test on Rachel for him. This test is done to distinguish replicants from being humans. The test resulted in Rachel being a replicant, even though she was presumed to be human. At least that's what she thinks it is. But at the end of the scene, Tyrell commands, not exactly commands, but he asks Rachel to get out of the room, and in this scene, Tyrell informed Deckard that Rachel is indeed a replicant, and she is also a limited experimental Nexus 7 variant of the replicant. He implanted a false memory on her to avoid her developing emotions, unlike the Nexus 6, which has been made in limited 4-year lifespan because of this reason. So, before Nexus 7, there was Nexus 6. Nexus 6 was made to serve the human, but they are only limited to 4 years lifespan. Why they are limited? It was because they develop emotions, and if they possess an emotion within themselves, these replicants may go rogue, as presented as like the 4 rogue replicants that was tasked to Deckard to hunt. Later on, we find Deckard going back to his apartment only to find Rachel waiting there, confused and scared at the truth that she was a replicant. She explained that she is a human by providing her childhood photo, which was defined by Deckard, who says that it was Tyrell's niece's memory instead of her, and that he has planted fake memories for her. Rachel is upset and stormed out the apartment, while Deckard is left feeling guilty and confused. At this point, Deckard started to recognize the whole situation, the whole problem of the situation, and the motives behind the four root replicants that they don't want to die, uh, because they have limited 4 years, and it seems like they have reached the 4 years, and they seek to meet their maker. The conflict presented is becoming more complex. Uh, it's not simply about killing these replicants anymore, but about the more implications of doing so because they develop emotions. Um, Deckard is conflicted to as we can see throughout the middle of the movie. He was tasked to also kill Rachel, despite of his love towards her and the moral of his job. Nevertheless, he need to get his job done as the four replicants still possess a threat to the Earth colony. This one is the next stage, which is an attempt to repair the damage. With at this point, Leon and Zora is already killed by Deckard and Rachel. Um, the remaining replicants, the remaining two replicants, they are Roy and Chris, roamed Los Angeles and found about J.F. Sebastian. This is the person. This is J.F. Sebastian. This is Roy, and this is Chris. Sebastian is a genetic engineer who contributed his work to Tyrell in order to make the Nexus 6 replicants such as them. So indirectly, uh, so J.F. Sebastian was the author, the creator of both of these replicas. It is shown by the dialogue, his line that he says, "There's some part of me in you," which means that some part of J.F. Sebastian was used to create these Nexus 6 models, such as Roy and Chris. Uh, with Sebastian's help, Roy gained an audience to their maker, Dr. Eldon Tyrell himself. But Roy went mad after knowing that he cannot help him to prolong his life and then kills him, and Sebastian too. Here we can see him killing Dr. Tyrell, and in this shot he was confessing about his crime to his maker, but the maker insisted that he was perfect. So in rage he kills him. Now, with two more replicants to go, Deckard went to Sebastian's apartment to retire Roy and Pris, but Pris ambushed him and tried to kill the Blade Runner. However, Pris's agility is no match against Deckard's gun, as he shot his gun, and she's dead. Pris is dead, right in front of Roy's eyes, and he just arrived from murdering Tyrell. In rage, Roy broke Deckard's finger and tried to kill him. Here is, you can see Roy here pondering on Pris's body. This is the climax of the movie. Deckard is in fear, defenseless against Roy, who is gifted with superhuman strength. He tried to jump across a building, but failed and hangs into the ledge. Here, you can see is Roy is chasing around, chasing Deckard. It kind of looks scary, and here it is, Deckard hanging on the ledge of the building. In the next scene, we see that Roy purposefully jumped into the other side of the building with ease, and he's standing there watching the helpless Deckard clinging to his life. Um, Roy, wait, I'm sorry. I mean, Deckard is slowly losing his grip on the ledge because it was raining and it was very slippery. Um, Roy Batty told Deckard how living in fear, about how living in fear feels like, and Deckard can only stare at him in fear. Uh, and then a couple of seconds later, he slips. Deckard tries to. Deckard could not handle his weight, and he's starting to slip into about to fall. But then, unexpectedly, Roy unexpectedly saved him and puts him against the wall. It turns out Roy Betty has a change of heart. He presents a monologue of how his memories will be lost, and like tears in rain as his 4 years lifespan reach to its end. He delivers one last smile and then dies. Here, this is the very last word. This is the last one of the last words of Roy Betty before he died, because he was a Nexus 6 replicant that was made only for 4 years. I think this part is very dramatic, suspenseful, scary, and sad all at the same time. I myself even tried to wanted to cry. I've watched this scene for 3 times, and I'm still feeling very sad for this scene. However, from seeing this entire scene played out, I don't think Deckard managed to fix the damage as he failed to kill Roy, and he dies anyway. What makes this scene stand out is that how the villain Roy Batty is not wholly evil after all. Um, uh, as he was just as scared as confused, um, as far as confused as Deckard knowing that his life will end. He used his last moments in life to show Deckard how uh, Roy just wanted to make his existence stay exist in Deckard's mind, and as a testament of his humanity despite of being a replicant. So I see here the villains was just trying to prolong their life. They are scared and they are in fear. So realizing that there's nothing that they could do to prolong their life, especially Roy, because he's the one who left the life until the very end. Um, he accept himself as it is, and as a last build, as a last uh, as last in his last moment, he tries to prove to Deckard and possibly everyone else that a replicant have very real emotion, if very similar or not, if not close to that of a human. Uh, Now, next to the last stage, which is the new equilibrium. New equilibrium is the state of balance which happens after the main conflict has gone. So the state of balance has been restored again because the main problem has gone. However, I think in Blade Runner, new equilibrium is not present, at least not at all. You see, the ending of this movie leaves a lot of questions rather than being a proper conclusion to the story. Deckard goes home to find Rachel asleep in his room, and in the previous scene, we can see and hear Officer Gaff telling Deckard, "Too bad she won't leave." But then again, who does? Uh, we can see here, this is Rachel. He was sleeping in Deckard's apartment. This is Gaff, where he say, "Too bad she won't leave," but then who does? Indicating that he is going to kill her, right? However, in the next scene, we saw an origami unicorn placed on the floor, and origami is Gaff's hobby. We can see, actually, if you watch the movie, you can see that Gaff made a couple of origami throughout the movie. So this is just a hint. This indicates that Gaff spares Rachel's life and let her and Deckard to live. While I'm not really sure why he did that, actually. Um, the movie ends here with Deckard and Rachel closing the elevator door. No one knows what happens next, as there's no explanation as of where or what they were doing after that. However, we will assume that they go somewhere far and safe, where Rachel, as a replicant, can live in peace out of Blade Runners, and possibly to one of the off-world colonies. This assumption is based on the sequel of Blade Runner, that is Blade Runner 2049, which was released in 2017, back around 3 years ago, where it was revealed later that Deckard is still alive 30 years later, and apparently spoiler alert, he already has a children. So I think that is all of my analysis of this movie. Blade Runner is a really great movie that requires, as I said earlier, it requires deeper understanding to analyze the structures, because there are twists, and yeah, I think just pretty hard to see. You have to see through the movie, the meaning of the movie, to understand the structure, because I think it does not follow Todorov's theory, because the last one, the new equilibrium, does not really exist, because the ending is very what would you say, it has a lot of ambiguity in it, so it can, no one can say for sure if it was meant to be a new balance, like everything was restored like normal, or that things will turn sour later. So yeah, I think that's all. I thank you for listening to this, and I'm so sorry if there was any mistake or things that I left behind. So yeah, thank you very much, and goodbye.